Alberta Premier Danielle Smith celebrated Canada's big win amid U.S. President Donald Trump's Liberation Day announcement on April 2nd. This comes as the U.S. is expected to maintain the majority of the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement, CUSMA, as trade tensions loom between the North American neighbors. She cited her diplomacy and persuasion amid ongoing engagement with the U.S. administration as she announced tariff-free access for most Canadian goods into the U.S. market. Trump tariffs on Canadian cars, steel, and aluminum remain in place, as per Canadian media reports. Goods that are not compliant with the current Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement will be tariffed at 25%, while non-compliant energy and potash will be tariffed at 10%. Smith said, "Today was an important win for Canada and Alberta. As it appears, the United States has decided to uphold the majority of the Free Trade Agreement, CUSMA, between our two nations. It also appears this will continue to be the case until after the Canadian federal election has concluded and the newly elected Canadian government is able to renegotiate CUSMA with the U.S. administration." According to Smith, the worst of the tariff dispute is behind them, but there is still work to be done. There will be 0% tariffs on energy, minerals, agricultural products, uranium, seafood, potash, and a host of other Canadian goods, Smith stated. She highlighted that the premiers and the federal government should align their efforts to remove the remaining tariffs. Till the tariffs are resolved, she called for supporting affected workers generously. Smith has also been calling for intra-provincial trade, thereby cutting dependence on the United States. She cited the example of Manitoba in an interview shared on X.
I'm in Minnedosa, Manitoba. I'm an Albertan and just out here on work. That being said, Madam Premier, have we discussed at all looking at Manitoba Hydro as something that could solve some of Alberta's issues with hydro?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And going across from where northern Manitoba, where the hydro comes from, can we not make a deal with them to come across Saskatchewan and Alberta and buy the clean energy that they're selling to the state? As they're selling it cheaper to the states than they are to Manitoba.
You got it. I think that's exactly the recalibration that every province is doing, is that we're looking at our own trade relationships and saying, why are we sharing more of an economy and more cross-border trade with our southern neighbors than we are with each other? And that's why we are all working on ways to identify interprovincial trade barriers and tear them down. We started doing this when the UCP first got elected. We eliminated all of the exceptions but I think there were only six or seven. And we've also eliminated the barriers between people getting educated and their professionals a certification in other provinces working here. I think there's only about 7 or 8 professions where they have to have extra training. So we've been the leader on that. And I'm so pleased to see, with the leadership of Matt Jones at the table on our behalf, that the other provinces are coming on board with that. But to your specific question, yes, we negotiated, Devin Dreeshen, our Transportation and Economic Corridors Minister, negotiated an economic corridor agreement with Saskatchewan and Manitoba. It was with the prior government. But what I'm seeing is that under the new government of Wab Kinew, they've invested in Churchill. He's just started the first gold mine in the province in the last 15 years. And that if that isn't a signal that there is a major change happening in this country, I don't know what is. So yes, beautiful idea. Let's get transmission lines built west so that we can use that clean hydropower, and let's get pipelines built east so that we can export more through the Hudson Bay, build some icebreakers in whether British Columbia or Quebec or Nova Scotia, and let's really take a Team Canada approach. Those are exactly the conversations happening at the Premier's table.
In 2024, Alberta exported $125 billion worth of crude petroleum oil, its largest export to the United States. In November 2024, Smith announced measures for strengthening border security to avoid tariffs, seen as a measure to protect trade. She was targeted for not taking a Team Canada approach, for not levying counter tariffs, and visiting Trump in Mar-a-Lago before he took office.